Today I'm going to show you how to build a swarm trap basically for free. Now everybody knows there's nothing free. You're going to pay for it, whether it's in your labor, whether it's in your pocketbook, whether it's in your time. But out-of-pocket cost, almost zero. You will need to buy some nails, screws, staples, glue, whatever it is your preference to hold these things together, you'll need to purchase that. I am using staples because I have them. In fact, this package of staples, these are 1-inch staples. They work pretty good for everything I'm doing here. They're a little long for some parts, but I've had these staples for 23 years. So at this point they literally cost me nothing. I bought them in a clearance bin and never had a use for them until recently. We're going to use 3/8 plywood. The reason I prefer the 3/8 plywood is because I want my box to be light. I want it to be strong and durable, but I want it to be light. These things go up in trees or in high places, and when they get full of bees, they're going to weigh plenty from the bees and the honey and so on and so forth. So I'm keeping my box on the light side by building it with minimal materials. You can build yours out of 3/4 inch plywood if you prefer. You can use 1/2 inch plywood. I'm using the Layens frames in here. I don't have one that's complete to show you at this point. I'll do a video on building those. I'm doing enough room for 7 frames. My research has told me that bees prefer around 40 liters of space, and this box is pretty close to that. It's 11 inches wide, 14 inches this direction, and then 16 inches deep. That's approximate. I believe it might be 14.5, and that's exterior. It's 11 inches wide interior, so that would be 13 3/4 on the inside, but it is 16 inches deep on the inside. There's plans for these. You can go to horizontalhive.com and download the plans. In fact, that's where I've got my plans for my Layens frames and a plan for frame jig, which I'll show you more about that in a future video. But I've built the jig. I have the frames all cut and laid out. I just haven't started assembling them yet. That'll be the next step after we build some more boxes. This is the first box I built, first box ever. I didn't think about making a video when I made this box, but then I got thinking, you know, I've done a lot of research on making these, so you might appreciate what I've learned. I have never had bees before, so this would be my first attempt at bees. I don't want to buy bees. Here on my homestead, my logic is I want to do things at minimal cost, and so that is one reason why I don't want to buy bees. The bigger, better reason I don't want to buy bees is the local bees will be hardier and more likely to survive our winters than bees from another state, another breed. There are some breeds that will do well here. I'm not saying store-bought bees are entirely bad, but I'm just saying I want local bees. So that's what I'm going to try to do. So anyway, we're going to go ahead and get this cut now. This box is built my style, my dimensions. You can check out Bill B-Boy on YouTube. He's got some good videos. He inspired me on this box, but this is by no means the same as his. And like I said, horizontalhive.com has plans for these. I don't know what their dimensions are specifically. I just know what my dimensions are, so we'll go over that as we go on. So anyway, we're going to have to cut all the material. I don't have a woodworking shop. This is not my table saw. I borrowed this from my buddy Dave. He was kind enough to let me use it. I never really had much use for a table saw until now. With the bees stuff, I've got a lot of cutting to do, so I'm going to be keeping this saw busy probably the next couple weeks. I'm using mostly cordless tools. For those of you who don't know, I'm off-grid. I have no city power here, 100% off-grid. So all my lights that are being used are LED. I have the cordless chop saw over here. That's a Ryobi. Just takes the 18 volt Ryobi battery. Works well. I have, regular power tools. I have a corded circular saw, but I'll be using the cordless mostly. It's just easier for me. So anyway, let's get started cutting material. I don't have a bunch of fancy cameras set up all over. I have one camera. So I will try and show as much as I can. I might turn the saw so you get a better angle of what I'm doing, but this isn't a class about woodworking. I'm not here to teach you how to use the tools. I'm just here to show you how I built the box. So I don't feel it necessary to cover every aspect of cutting wood. But I do want you to understand the process I'm going through for making this box. Let's get to it. Okay, we've got these 2x4s that come off of that mobile home frame right there. So we'll start with that. And then over here we have shipping crates that we've taken apart. This will provide us with all the plywood we need. This stack here is 3/8. That's 1/2 inch. But we're going to use 3/8. We'll talk about that. Or we already talked about that. I ripped this plywood down to 16.5 inches wide. And this is going to make our sidewalls, which are 16.5 inches in that direction and 14.5 inches in that direction. So start on this end. We're just going to go ahead and mark this at 14.5 inches. Grab the square and just use it for a guide and put a line. Now I'm not going to actually be cutting any of this on the table saw because most of my pieces are too big for the table saw. We'll get to the table saw for later parts, but yep, you'll be able to see that okay. I think I'll turn that at a little bit of an angle. Now for those of you that don't have any power tools, you can do all of this with hand tools. Every single part of what I'm doing could be done with hand tools. And if you'd rather go to Home Depot and buy plywood, you could do that. You could buy furring strips for the lid and your side pieces. You don't have to do things the way I'm doing them. I'm just doing it on the cheap. I'm going to be doing probably about 6 of these things. So I'm going to go ahead and finish cutting this piece down. And this will give me another side for another box. If you're only doing one, then you don't need to worry about this step. Didn't quite get deep enough there. That is one of the drawbacks with working with used lumber. Basically what we got here is we got an area that's all blown out from when it was taken apart. And, so the saw didn't set down on there good and done that. We'll just clean that up. No problem. The bees won't mind. I don't care. I'll put that to the inside. Of course I still need to clean the staples off. Alright, so that's the front and the back of the box. Now we need sides. We need to rip this down to 11 inches. We need 11 by 16. Let's just go ahead and take this to 16. staple in the way over here. Okay, so we've got that cut down to 16, and I know we can cut 11 inches on this table saw, so we'll just go ahead and set it up. Should have pulled it out. So now we have 4 sides. So we've got the front and the back, the sides. We need the bottom and the lid. And actually, I've already got the lid, so I won't be cutting the lid. And the bottom is 11 3/4 by 14 1/2. There's your bottom. Alright, well, I lost some footage, so I'm starting over. Do this again. These are our sides. I'm going to go ahead and get them glued up. As I mentioned before, my glue is drying on me, so I'm having to apply it with a stick. dropped some staples on the floor. Forgot to pick them up. First piece of the hardwood. Now some guys they're building jigs to put these together with, and that's not a bad idea. I'm only going to build probably 6 of these, and so for me, building a jig, it ain't worth it. But if you're going to build, 20 of them, or maybe for you even 6, it's worth it. But for me, it's not. Now I'm going to pre-drill my hole in the side. I want to make sure I have it oriented in the right direction. I don't want to drill my hole in the wrong spot, so just kind of guess. I go probably close to 3 inches from the bottom to the center. Sharper bit would be nice. Now I do this for my own selfish reasons. So we're going to make this the inside. I need a staple. I'm just going to take one out of this staple gun. Going to straighten it out. Oh, that's a first. That one actually broke. Haven't had one break on me before. It's not that critical that they're perfectly straight, but I'm going to take about 3/16 of an inch of the end and bend it over, turn it around, and do the same thing on the other end. I'll hold it in place. Just get a quick smack on it. I found that works the best. And there's your I'm not really sure what they call that, but it's there to discourage the birds from getting in there. Won't stop mice, but you know, a bird's gonna have to be pretty small to get past that. On the first box, I did all that after I put it together. It's a lot easier to do it before you put it together. Don't have to worry too much about being square with everything, because if you did a good job cutting your material, it'll come out square on its own. Just get one in the staple in the corner, get the other corner lined up. Now some of this wood is warped, and so I'm going to have to adjust that. That means I'm going to pull that out. I'm not going to staple all the way up to the end because I don't want to get my fingers, but that'll keep it so I can get the end. Now we're ready to put the bottom on. Square up the corner with your thumb and fingers and get a staple and it'll stay. Once you did the first two sides, the rest will be easy, because it'll be square. So that's the primary part of the box. Now we got two pieces left, and that'll be these two strips right here. And what we're going to do is, you believe those were 13 inches, no, 11 3/4. So get yourself a 2x4. And we'll cut it to 11 3/4 as soon as I find my pencil. Eleven 3/4. We'll need to take this off the table saw because we're going to use it. And we're going to want to rip those to 1/2 inch. Sorry about that. I forgot to reorient the camera. And get my table back. So now I have 6 of these pieces. That's enough for 3 boxes because we only need 2 per box. And again, we're going to glue everything. We're going to glue the whole side piece. And then put a bead of glue across the bottom. Should be nice if I had a working glue bottom. Be a lot easier than doing this. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to just lay that down. On that, I'm going to get the ends flush with the top corners the best I can. And actually, I'm going to set one into the back to make it straight. Good going. Put about 3 staples in that. We're going to flip it over and do the other side. But before we glue that up, we're going to put a staple on each end of this. You don't have to do that. That's just my preference. And that's the box. Now for the lid. Okay, so we got our sides. And our end pieces. And just gonna get right after it. Now, Bill the B-Boy put something on his table to make it easier for assembling these. And I got absolutely nothing against that idea. I think it's a good idea. I'm just not going to build a lot of these, so I just don't think I'm going to worry about that. Kind of getting low on air pressure. Check for the better side. Put the better side outside. Square up the one end. And there you go. There we go. The only thing left now, we got to make the door, which is really easy. So we're just going to whack ourselves off a piece of this. You need a couple drill bits for this. We're just going to drill a hole in the corner. Doesn't matter which corner. That drill bit's dull too. Now this is the wrong screw. I ran out of the shorter screws, so I'll be changing that screw out later. I'm just going to put that over the door and screw it in. That screw is bent. So I'll change that later, but there's the door. We've got to put vents in on the side. Now you can do that one of two ways. You want to use about a 1/2 inch drill bit. Now you could drill from the back. You want to drill at an angle so that the water will run out, but I prefer to drill from the inside. That with my drill, that naturally puts me at an angle. If you got a spade bit, that would actually probably be the preferred bit, but my spade bit's in the house right now and I'm too lazy to go get it. Peel off this whole crap hole up. This is the reason why I did it from the inside, because now I have to put a screen over that. I've got these old screens. I have no idea what they're from. I just cut me a strip of that. Clean off the crappy edges because I just want it to be square and nice. These got weeds growing through them, so they were laying outside for a long time. Like I said, I have no idea where they originated from, and then I just cut them into little squares. Need 4 of them because you got 4 holes. Just lay it over the hole. Staple it down. And I just ran out of staples. And those are in the house too, so I'll be finishing that at a later time. At this point, you have the box built. You've got the lid built. The only thing left to do now is to paint it. It's pretty well done. Your vents are right up tight, up high, close to the top, so there's less chance of water getting in there. I'm going to drill a pilot hole on each side and sink a screw in so that the top will stay on. I live in a very high wind area and I don't want the top coming off. As I said before, I don't have the frames. I don't have them assembled, but I have the tops here. There's 4, 5, 6, and 7. And the only thing that needs to be done now is you'll need a 1/2 inch filler for the end, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take some of these 2x4s I've ripped down to 1/2 inch. I'll just rip a whole new one because I'm going to make enough of them, and then I'll rip it to the 1/2 by 1/2, and it'll just lay in there just to tighten up the space and keep the bees from getting up in the top of the lid. So there you go. 4-man swarm trap. Thanks for watching.